Get ready to go. Let's get it.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
Yo, we back.
Back, man. Episode 2.
Episode 2. All right, let's get it, man. You lead it off, man. Let's go.
All right, well, welcome to episode 2 of Bros and Books. With the bros, this is the book.
That's the book, man.
Hey,
That's the
man,
book.
this is an amazing book, bro.
Great read, man. Great read.
Tony Dungy, he gave us one, Quiet Strength, by Tony Dungy. We told y'all last time that's what was coming, and we're here. So, I'm going to summarize this book real quick. The summary on this book is pretty much Tony Dungy giving us his story that led up to him becoming NFL Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
You know, NFL coach.
Yeah.
So he really gave us into his life of how it started, how he went about doing it, how he believed in God all the way through. Let's just go there first of all. He pulled his family in and out. Everywhere he went, they had to go with him. And eventually he held on to his philosophies, he held on to his beliefs, and eventually it got him exactly what he wanted, which was a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Would you recommend this book?
I definitely recommend it, man. And just to kind of piggyback on the summary, like he goes through his life story as well. It's more of a kind of like a biography,
Yes.
almost a little bit. He talks about playing high school football, talks about his dad, his mom.
His mom was a hell of an athlete.
Yeah, probably better than his dad. His dad was like a Poindexter.
Yeah, his dad was lame. His dad was lame though. Like his mom chose his dad. His dad laid hella values on it, but his dad was.
Yeah. Dad was he was a professor, right?
Yeah, he was a professor. Mom was a teacher.
Yeah. And so we talk about just his upbringing, how he was brought up, goes through his life story, him playing quarterback, which I never knew he played quarterback.
Me either, bro.
Like that was
because he played DB in the league.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Hell, I didn't know that either until.
Yeah, facts. Till you read the book.
Until I read the book.
Yeah.
All I knew Tony was a great coach for the Colts, and he started the train down in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, absolutely.
He started that train down in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And
why I think it's so good too, though, man, because you really figure out more about him.
Yeah.
Facts. Yeah.
And now one thing he did say was he wasn't going to put much about his kids in there. I know a lot about his kids.
Yeah, facts.
He spoke about his kids a lot. He didn't go in depth, but he gave us enough to know his kids.
He kind of had to too.
He did
a little bit
because his kids are a major part of his story.
Facts.
His kids are one. His wife, he's dedicated. So I really think it was once again a great read, and we're going to get into it. We're going to give y'all our points.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to give y'all our ratings. We just summarized it for y'all. So what we're going to start off with, I'm going to allow Bino to jump into his first point.
Let's get it.
He can, start us off. Let's get it, Bino.
Let's get it. So my first takeaway from the book, man, again, amazing read. Learned a lot about Tony Dungy. And it's crazy, bro. It's how I know that what we're doing is God sent, right? Because, we picked this book without the current news of what's going on right now. But it ties into what's happening in the NFL right now. Like, my first point is race in sports. And I think, man, if you look at Tony, man, and you look at the dynamics of this book, you see how an African-American coach, an African-American football player, player first, who transcended into being a coach, how it was still hard for him, man. You know what I mean? And still trying to get interviews and trying to become a head football coach, and how hard it was for him to try and get that done. And it's the same thing that coaches are now going through, or still going through now to this day. Yeah. It's super relevant today, man, with the whole Brian Flores deal, with the headlines that he's going through. The whole Rooney Rule in the NFL, where you have to interview minority coaches. And I'm not even sure when the Rooney Rule was enacted, but I'm sure it was before 1996 when Tony got his job.
We'll have to look into that.
Yeah, we'll double check and see. But Tony talks about going his first 2 interviews, and I can relate to this now, just kind of going through the interview process now myself. But Tony talks about going to his first 2 interviews, and one of them being the Green Bay Packers, and they wanted a coach. Their requirements was to have a coach with head coaching experience, and to have a coach that was an offensive mind. And he was neither one of those. So it's like, why would you even
bring me in?
Why would you even choose to interview me if you knew for a fact that I wasn't going to be a guy that was even going to be on your radar? And that goes in line with what Brian Flores is talking about right now. Like, you bring me in just to say that you interviewed
a black person.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But you have no, you're really not even thinking about hiring me for real. You just brought me in to say that we checked this box. We got a minority candidate. We checked this box. And it's amazing, man, that what he's going through in this book in 1994, 93, that we're in 2020 and we're still going through the same exact thing. 2022. I'm 2 years behind, cuz. And we going through it. I mean, I'm telling the COVID that we ain't COVID us still, so I guess. But go ahead.
But I just want to step into that fact, like they make them interview these guys, and Brian Flores, he's been a head coach.
Yeah.
And some of the guys I'm seeing hired has never been a head coach.
Bro, Doug Peterson about to be the head coach again. After you get fired in Philly, you finna go back down to Jacksonville and be a head coach.
And can't nobody say that Brian Flores did not turn around that Dolphins team this year.
Can't
like
say
he
bro
should
can't
have
coach.
At least got another year, bro.
Can't say bro can't coach.
Exactly. And then the big thing is, we can move on, but they was paying him to lose games.
Ain't that crazy? And then Hugh Jackson come out and say the same thing. Yes. And now they saying that both of them joke a line.
So are you telling me that basically they're saying we're going to sabotage the black coach to make it where we only have to interview him, but y'all understand why we're hiring them because they're losing?
And then too, even deeper than that, bro, like we can't get a second chance.
No.
So if you're Pop and you're white and we pay you to lose games for a draft pick, that's like being Doug Peterson and losing in Philly and then getting hired in Jacksonville. But if you Brian Flores and you lose, that shows you can't be a head coach. Exactly. And you'll probably never get another opportunity to run your own deal again.
You won't get an opportunity to be a head coach, but look at the sidelines. All you see is African-American coaches running the defense, running the offense, or running the team.
Facts.
Because the coach out of Kansas City, Bieniemy, why he be a head coach yet? Unless he's turning down jobs, this man should have been a head coach because he's been up under a great coach, Andy Reid.
He ain't turning them down, but they said he's not a great interviewer. He don't interview
He's
well.
a great coach.
But to kind of close this point up a little bit, man, Dungy talks about how he had the #1 defense with Minnesota, but in the 8-year span, he only got two interviews, and that's wild to think about, man. That we're in 2022, and this was so decades ago, and we're still going through some of the same stuff, man. So racing sport is still wild, and it's crazy because it's like it doesn't matter what kind of African American or black person you are. I mean, you look at Tony Dungy, Quiet Strength is a book, so you know he's not loud, he's not super wild as far as his language, and he's not he's not that kind of guy, and it was tough for him.
Yeah.
Imagine if you're loud and you fuss and cuss and you do everything else. I mean, how hard it can be, for somebody else too. So that was a point that kind of stuck with me.
Great point. I love it.
Good deal. Number 2, man, was grief. I thought grief was something that I took away from this book, man. And he had a line in the book on page 263. He said, "There is no typical grief. It's not something that you go. It's not something that you go through. It's something I'm still going through.
Yeah.
So it never stops as far as grieving. You don't know what I'm talking about. His son committed suicide, and he talks about that in the book. And it kind of resonated with me, man, because death is not something that I think, I take very well, but I kind of compartmentalize a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like, with my faith, my whole deal is I'm gonna see that person again. I feel like I'm gonna see him again in heaven, or whatever else. I just feel like I'm gonna see that person again. So it makes it feel like you're on a vacation a little bit. But there's also things in grief that like what he's saying, you never really get over, bro. Like I lost my grandparents pretty much all at the same time, like in a 3-year span. And you think about it, like I spent majority of my life over my grandparents' house. You know what I mean? Like where I grew up at, I mean, my grandparents were a cornerstone of all my childhood memories. And when they passed, it's like, I'm thinking about, possibly seeing them again, in the future. But it's small stuff that remind me of my grandparents. It's small stuff that remind me of my aunties. And it's like, it reminds me like I never really truly got over it. You know what I mean? Like I'm still grieving.
Yeah, and to say that, because my granddad was pretty much one of my best friends. Like I was with him every weekend. He picked me up every weekend. But I don't think you get over it. I don't think you ever stop grieving. You just learn to live with it.
Yeah.
You learn how to normalize it, make it a part of your life, and you do have those moments where you think about them people, you miss them people, but you learn how to live with it, and you have those moments, and then you continue on with your life.
Facts, man.
I mean, how could you say you forget somebody you care so much about? You get what I'm saying? So
Absolutely, man.
he was right, and the fact that this mother could remember that was on page 263.
I wrote it down. I wrote it down, man. But like you said, man, days and time pass, and you feel better. But man, like I still see a pack of Winston 100 right now, a cigarette. Thinking about my grandma, I'm like it's just something that and also to kind of close this point off, mental health is real too, man.
Bro, mental health is
like it's a real deal. Like it's something that we still, I think even now it's definitely more relevant now than kind of what it has been. But I think it's still, we don't put enough relevance into it. I mean, anybody watching this or listening to this, if you're going through something, you're not by yourself.
Not at all.
Like, get some help, reach out to somebody, reach out to us. You know what I mean?
So hey, just reach out to us anyway, bro, because mental health is real. That's why I make sure I check on my dogs all the time.
Yeah.
Random text, hey bro, y'all straight? Y'all not by yourself. And even if you think you are, get on your knees and pray.
Facts.
To whoever it is you pray to, trust me, he'll answer.
Facts, man. Just get some help if you need some help. Seriously.
Yes,
Seriously. My last point was I just really like the faith of Tony, man. Like the vision and the resilience. I mean, Tony is super transparent in his struggles and his frustration with even with God at times.
Yeah.
Like he's transparent in saying that I'm not happy with what just happened. I just went through these interviews. I was a finalist. I lost my son in the midst of trying to make a Super Bowl run. I win the Super Bowl, or and my wife is still living in Tampa. We got to live set. Like he's super transparent about what he's talking about. But I think what he puts to the team when he first got to Indy, what he puts in there about vision, about seeing it, speaking it into existence, and then not only that, but believing it and keep talking about it. It's like speaking your whole life into existence.
Exactly.
Like just saying what it is, manifesting what it is that you want, but the faith behind it of really believing it. And man, we talked about it last week. Well, not last week, but last episode.
Yeah.
Visions, I believe, are signs from God. It's telling you what it is that you should be doing, or what it is you're supposed to be doing, or what it is that you aspire to do. And man, having that vision, man, that resilience, I think is awesome, man. I just really appreciate that. And me being a football coach, man, a lot of these we could go on for 2 hours on this book. I know I could keep talking about
their visionless
different points in this book, man, that Coach Dungy gives. I got an honorable mention too. I got two things. We don't go into them, but I gotta mention these two things. I also love how he dealt with disappointment.
Oh yeah.
Not getting what he wanted, but not really giving up. You know what I mean?
He didn't.
And we gotta talk about, or not gotta talk about, but I gotta mention having great women in your life, a great woman in your life, your mama, your wife. Like his mom and his wife are amazing.
Ideal. They are what you want, bro.
Facts, bro. Amazing.
They supported him. They pushed him, and whatever he needed. Not only did they once again support him, they prayed for him.
Facts.
They prayed that, hey man, I hope you get what you get, and let's pray that this is the right decision.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, it was kind of funny because like you remember when in the book when they went from Minnesota and then they flew down to Tampa for the interview, and he said he seen his wife get off and just like, oh, I know she didn't want to go back.
She don't want to be She don't want to go back. It's hot. It's nice.
That reminded me of Jan, bro. She was so ready to leave Mississippi, bro. It was like as soon as we crossed Georgia line, her whole expression did change. She just didn't person.
You blame her? Mississippi is sorry for the people in Mississippi, but Mississippi is not an ideal place to
I love the Silk, bro. I ain't gonna say I like living there, but I love. But stop it, bro. You from nowhere, Georgia. Go ahead, man. Give me your point. give me your point.
All right, bro. To kind of jump off your point about him sticking to what he believed in, his vision, I'm gonna just go straight into his philosophy, bro. His philosophy was we're going to do what we do no matter what happens. even when they were not doing good doing what they do, he went to them and said, we're going to do what we do, and we're going to do it better.
That's tough.
And that is tough as a coach to look at your player and say, yeah, we just got beat by 40, but we're going to do exactly the same thing we've been doing, but we're going to do it better.
Yeah.
He showed them where small things will trip you up. Small things will trip you up and cause you. Small things will trip you up and cause you to lose.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not the overall thing. It's those small things that we have to work on the details.
Facts.
And a lot of people forget about the details. They forget the fundamentals.
Yeah.
You know, they forget the small things of watching film, looking at a player, understanding them. So when he told them that, bro, and he stuck to that philosophy, I was like, wow. And you have to believe in him, because that philosophy ended up leading him, the same thing led him to a Super Bowl.
Absolutely, man. Just staying down, staying true with your belief. And it's tough though when you're losing. Like, it's tough to say that your philosophy or whatever it is works when it's not successful in the moment. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, so how can you continue to say that we're gonna keep doing this and it ain't working, or it's not working? You know what I mean? Like, how can you keep saying we're gonna keep running Tampa 2 and they keep beating us down the scene,
burning us? But that's what that's why I went straight to this one off of you saying vision. He had a vision.
Yeah.
And his vision was based off his philosophy.
Yeah. Or
his philosophy was based off that vision.
For sure.
So he just stuck with it, dog, and it's like, I'm gonna just roll with it. And it got him a Super Bowl. So you have to respect that.
For sure.
100%.
Absolutely.
But my next one is gonna go to when his mom and dad was their upbringing. First thing I want to speak on is how during their upbringing, he and his mom was close. Let's just say they was real close. But the fact that she would tell all her kids, y'all are not like everybody else. Because everybody in Jackson, Mississippi, or Michigan, Michigan, they go to work or they go to school, they graduate, they work for the plant. Their parents had them thinking, y'all are not that. And all of his siblings from their upbringing ended up going on to help people. Sister was a doctor. Brother was something like was in the field of helping people, and he ended up being a NFL player, then a coach.
Yeah.
All of them were successful.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that's the way you should bring your kids up.
Yeah.
You don't bring your kids up thinking that you have to be in this cycle. And coming from my small town, I can relate.
Yeah.
Because every time I go home, the people that come up with me, they did exactly that.
Yeah.
They graduated, and now they're working for somebody that was their teacher, or some kin of their teacher. So what do you think about raising your kids to see further beyond what's right in front of them?
Man, that's a great point. I think too, it goes back to vision. I mean, I think you gotta push imagination. You gotta, really just let your kids figure out what they like, and then push them and go out and do that, not be afraid to fail. I think so much of it is comfortability, man. Like, we enjoy being comfortable, and you can't succeed or you can't grow if you're comfortable. Growth don't come in comfort. Growth comes being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And you gotta do different things. And I mean, so many times, bro, you see the same thing, because I told the kid this earlier today. I said, bro, when I was in high school, bro, 14 years ago, whatever, 13 years ago, whatever, people chase the same 3 things they're chasing now: women, money, drugs. But it's endless though, bro. Like,
it is.
Like, bro, I'm 31 now, and in high school you look at it and it's to the same thing, but it's never, bro. They're not gonna stop printing money.
No.
Women ain't gonna be women out here, and it's more dope than you can smoke. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
hey, that's hell, right? More dope than you can
it's
smoke.
more dope than you can smoke, bro. They
Real,
not gonna stop. They're not gonna stop making alcohol. So to feel like that you gotta be in such a rush to grow up, enjoy your childhood, enjoy being a kid, and dreaming.
And you heard it just like I've heard it. Listen, those girls are gonna be there.
Yeah.
They're going to be there. I heard it so much in high school, bro. I heard it so much in college, bro. Like, focus. The girl's going to be there.
I'm gonna say something. I'm
gonna speak on this though. Hey, bro, don't go there. See, talking with somebody that knows so much about you, bro, you just have to look at them and be like, bro. But nah, it's real though, bro. Like, and I can honestly say that. Surround yourself with people that believe that.
Yeah.
Because as much as we did and as much that we can talk about, we all made sure each other was in class.
Facts, bro.
We made sure we was at practice.
Facts.
You know, we depended on each other.
Facts. What you came here for, you gonna go.
That's what you're doing.
You feel what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Yeah.
Exactly.
Facts.
And the ones that got too far away, the circle got smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Go back to your last point one more time. All right. I think too, in that, how powerful is it to have a 2-parent household and your dad in the house?
Listen, I grew up without, my dad was locked up. So, but I can't really say, I say I grew up in a 2-parent household because my mom was there and my brothers, bro.
Yeah.
Like, they were like dads. Even though it wasn't a legit traditional thing,
Yeah.
them boys raised me as if I was their son.
Yeah.
But it's difficult not having a dad in the house, because Tony mentioned it in his book. When he was in college, he was working on a farm, I want to say, and shit, he was surprised when he heard those guys was brought up without dads in the house.
Facts.
And he was like, what? Y'all, you know, so it's hard.
Yeah.
But you don't know the struggle if you didn't come up like that. You get what I'm saying? You
Don't.
didn't have a real, your dad had got a great relationship.
We do.
And that's, so you can speak to how it feels to have a relationship with your dad that's a bond that's unbreakable. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro. Like that was the person I looked up to. I mean, pretty much my whole life. Like that's the person I wanted to be like. You know what I mean? But also, you know, it was a point where he wasn't in the house. You know, my folks got divorced when I was 12, so I had 12 years with him. But then I had 6 years or so. You know what I mean? Without him when he wasn't in the house. And I think that affected probably my brother more so than it did myself.
Because he was younger.
He was young. He was 5. You know what I mean? So.
And you can see the
He was
difference.
7. Yeah.
And I can see the difference, you know.
Yeah.
But I can also say that even though your dad wasn't right there under that roof,
He was still there.
He was still there.
Yeah, could one.
yeah, but he gave your brother more time to get away because he wasn't always there.
Yeah.
But like I said, I can see the difference because between you and your brother, he's getting better, but you always kept an eye on him.
I tried.
You know, you tried.
Wow.
But I'm gonna go to my last point. That last point is going to be focus on the job, not your surroundings.
Ooh. Hey man,
Go ahead.
I don't. You know, we got to change the structure of this podcast. We got to get our point before him. Cause you get too many quotable moments.
What?
And I feel like I ain't got enough quotable moments, man. I feel like we got.
It's on the face for the quotable moment, my guy.
Quotable moment again. Go ahead, bro.
So I say focus. No, you're right. I say focus on the job, not your surroundings. This grabbed me because working at a school, we can get so caught up with what's going on around us as far as administration, as far as rules, as far as this, and we don't focus on the job.
Yeah.
Our main job as educators is to focus on those kids, see them grow, see them become something that they don't believe they can be.
Right.
And in this book, Tony's description was when they were down in Tampa, they went to Tampa University. The facilities was horrible.
Trash.
Everything was terrible.
Trash.
And he noticed the players were a little off, didn't like it. So what Tony did is he taught them that it's not where you are, it's doing your job. You can be on the worst field and get a great day of practice in, and that's gonna translate to that best field that you're going to.
Facts.
So I love the fact that he brought that out, and to a lot of people that go to work and focus on the people that's around them. If you focus on your job, get that tunnel vision on your job, you'll be so happy.
Yeah.
Because you're not there for the people that you work with to be happy with you. You're there for them to be happy with what you're doing, getting your job done. So yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, that's a good one, bro. That's a really good point. And two, man, you know, your situation just really don't define you. Your situation is not definite. You know what I mean? You got a job to do. You know what I mean? You got to go in and do it. And if it's your passion, I think finding your passion too is super important. That makes working whatever your job is a lot easier.
That means don't chase a dollar, chase your passion.
Hey, but going back to chasing a dollar, would you?
Give it to
Would you? It's 10 games now. Okay.
10 games.
10 games. 100,000 a game. You wouldn't blow 10 games for $1 million on the table, non-tax money.
I can't say I would, dog. I like to win.
Just not in your character.
I'm a competitor. If you want me to intentionally lose games, and if y'all don't know, once again, this from Brian Flores, them saying they was offered $100K to lose a game, but I couldn't do it. My character, and knowing that I got players that don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm cheating my players.
Yeah, facts.
I mean, I care about people somewhat.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Somewhat.
Yeah, somewhat. But to go into once again, an honorable mention moment, he made his players get on that bus at 5 to change their routine.
Yeah.
And we get so caught up in everything happening the way we want it to that when something throws us off, we lose focus.
Yeah.
We get distracted.
Yeah.
We're done. Him doing that showed me that when something unexpected happens, don't stop.
Yeah.
Just find a way to work around that happen.
Yeah.
So that's something I wanted to say or speak on about that book as another moment. So how would you say that speaks to you when they say when something unexpected happens, don't stop, keep going, or just work with it?
Man, my dad used to have this saying, man, is just adjust.
There you go.
Like, you know, I mean, no matter what's going on, man, just adjust. And I think the best people in every profession are able to adapt to whatever the circumstance is. I think when people can't adapt, you can't do different things. I mean, it ends up putting you in a spot where you're truly not able to really do what you need to do. You know what I mean? If you're able to adjust, you're able to adapt, you're able to fit the mold of whatever you need in that situation. Speaking back to you earlier, talking about, you know, people making a change and not being able to deal with it. I got that right now. Like, I got a kid, really good player, and he got a head coaching change. You know, I'm stepping into a role. The guy who was in the role is still there. We got a parent meeting. You know, he walks out of my parent meeting because he's saying that he's loyal to the old coach. And it, like, bro, I made the same face. You know what I mean? Like, either way, whether it's me or whether you change schools, it's gonna be a new coach.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Coming back.
Yeah, I mean, he's just not coming back, bro. So, I mean, you can make a decision to still be here where you're at, or whether you decide you're gonna leave and take off.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a change for you regardless. But how you handle the change, you know what I mean? So that just let me know, man, we got a lot of work to do with that particular kid, and just the spot I'm at, period. We got a lot of work to do there too. But yeah, man, just adjust.
You just gotta allow him to see that no matter where you go, that coach is not coming back. And I respect your loyalty, but be loyal to yourself first.
Yeah, facts.
Be loyal to what you're trying to do to yourself, because if you allow this coach leaving to make you get out of your own element, you're not loyal to yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't be more loyal to somebody else than you can to yourself.
Facts, man.
So, but with that being said, now it's time to rate this book, bro.
Let's get it.
So the first rating that we have is relatability. How would you say that this book related to you and your life?
1 to 10, right?
1 to 10.
1,000.
Let me go ahead and jump in right now and say relatability for me is also 1,000. I'm gonna tell you now, bro. Relatability is 1,000 on a scale of 1 to 10. Why?
1,000, bro, because it just, I mean, his upbringing, our upbringings were not similar, but I can relate to everything he went through as an athlete, and then transitioning from being an athlete to a coach, and then transitioning from going through disappointment, from going through not getting what you think you work for, and then also just keep just staying resilient and just continuing to press forward, continuing to put your left foot in front of your right foot, and just see how the cards, you know, play out in the end.
See how they fall, and I can jump on that one too, bro. Just being willing to go, like you said, go through something and come out on the other end. Just believing that your vision is from God. Believing, just grinding. You know, that's basically what Tony did in this book. He grinded, even when it was hard. Even when he was on plane to plane, he took his baby to Minnesota. It was freezing, and him and his wife was trying to see if that job was what they wanted. You know, he was living away from his family, but he believed in what he believed in. And that's why I can relate it, because I believe in what I believe in. That's why I'm sitting here next to you. Like, I believe in what we're doing.
Hey, man. Hey.
All right. But, so we both rated 10.
10, yeah, 10. I guess that's how we can go with 10.
Yeah,
I love to go higher.
Flow. How did this flow with you?
I'm gonna have to say an 8 for me. Only because I'm not as much as I enjoy reading, I don't like books over like 250. And he called me lazy, called me whatever you want to, but like past 250, man, I'm like, I kind of got like a little regimen where I read like 11 to 15 pages a day, and for me that helps me keep it fresh. And if it's not that interesting, it's not like I have to read a whole a lot of it at one time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So 11 to 15 page day, I'm really good with that. You know, if it's something that's super interesting, I can read it, you know, all day or whatever. I got a lot of time. But this book was super interesting, but it was just long. But the flow of the book was really good. I think he did a great job of tying in places where you could kind of be able to see it. Like the visualization of it was really good. I could see them being at the old Tampa Bay Stadium by the airport.
On one book, baby.
On one book, and I could smell the jet fuel coming from the jets. You know what I mean? So all that was really good. It was just a little bit too long for me.
Okay, I'm not too big on the way he was jumping from story to story, bro. Like I'll give it a solid 8.5, honestly. But it was just like sometimes he's talking about this, like when he went from talking about his playing days in college to his regular student days.
Yeah.
When he was, and my mind works to the point where it's like, I need what you're doing to stay on course. So he jumped to one. I'm like, I honestly had to go back a couple pages. I'm like, hold up, am I missing something?
Yeah.
And then I realized he just kind of flipped.
Yeah.
Which lifestyle he was in. It wasn't football now. It was regular like work and all that. But that kind of threw me off. And I want to just say I agree with you. When I first started reading this book, I felt like I was walking through that thing with him.
Yeah, bro.
He brought me into that book by talking about how he was removing his stuff when he got fired. You know, but other than that, 8.5, only because he kind of jumped around a little bit on me. Well, he didn't jump around. My mind jumped around. So,
yeah. Bro, I didn't try how he go up there and Kiko, I wouldn't work. Like, they
like, bro, they had to let him in. So that means they fired him, and the next day they cut his card off.
That's trash, man.
Remind you of that Jamal Adams commercial when he go up to the Seahawks stadium and he thought he was out.
Yeah.
But this is before they let him go. Dang, y'all ever release me? I'm like, bro. Or the Jets. The
Jets, yeah.
All right, last but not least, man, level of interest. What you rated?
I'm gonna go 9. I'm gonna go a solid 9. Only because of the length of the book. I think if it was shorter, I think it would be a 10. But like I said, just it being as long as it was, again, call me lazy, man. I'm a 250 kind of guy, man. You know, 250 is kind of my page limit. But the interest was there. Again, it was timely for me. You know, stepping into trying to get to that role, and Tony Dungy's a role model, man. So it was a page turner for me, just making sure that like everything was quotable almost. You know what I mean? Especially the thing on time. I use time in my presentation now. You know, time is super important. If you are not on time, that means I can't trust you or you don't care. You know what I mean? So a lot of quotable moments, and so I would give it a 9.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'll give it a 10 in this one, only because I would, like you said earlier, it's like a biography. Yeah. And I learned so much about Tony in this book, from losing his son to his path to becoming that Super Bowl coach. You get what I'm saying? Super Bowl winning coach. So I'll give it a 10 because I'm not, you know, the length don't really bother me because once I sit down and read, I'm reading. I'm going. So sometimes I can find myself in read 80 to 100 pages a day. Easy. And it's only because I make time. But, so I'll give it a smooth 10 out of that. So I think we sitting out of the way. You the math teacher, bro. Do the math.
All right, so this is the numbers in my head right here, guys. I don't know, right? I'm typing
he typing in his head, bro.
9.1.
9.1. Hey man, that's a great score for a great book.
Absolutely, man.
We rate this book a 9.1. That's the rating from the bros and in between the lines, bro. And we just really would encourage anybody to read this book. Even if you want to read it just from a football standpoint, read it from a motivational standpoint, and read a book of a person that was very resilient in their vision. And the whole time they believed in a higher power. So, Bino, I think they know they need to read it. They know our rating, and our ratings matter.
Facts, they matter, man. Go out and get it. Go out and check them out, man. Quiet Strength by Tony Dungy. Awesome read. Even if you're not an athlete, not whatever, it's relatable to whatever
life
you're at in life. Facts.
So, Bino, what we read next?
Man, we're going to check out Superior Man, The Way of the Superior Man.
Come back. Y'all gonna want to hear this one. We might get in an argument on this one.
We might. I ain't scared of you.
You gotta be scared of me, but you gonna have to go back and forth with me on this one.
I ain't scared of you,
cause bro, he made some points in it that I like, but he also made some points in it. And I'm like, this a mannish mother. You hear me?
It's a few in there that's different.
Yeah.
And I wonder how. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it
next
episode.
So, hey man, this has been episode 2 of In Between the Lines with Bino and Pop. With the bros, here's the book.
That's the book.
Hey man, y'all come back next week for that Superior Man.
Signing off. All right.
Great job, man. Great job.
And we got it in what? It's 37.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
All right.
So play it back while we clean up, I guess.
Yo, back, man.
Yes.
Episode 2.
It sound good.
Sounded great.
Yes.
All right.
But I got everything we recorded too, bro.
Yes.
This is the book. That's the book, man. Hey, man, this is an amazing.
Bro, everything